What was the last rule that they were told?
Leave the gate open.
Don't leave the gate open, but the chapter now is called The Open Gate. Let's go exploring, suggested Dick after dinner dishes were done. So they dashed outdoors looking for adventure. Soon they heard Dick calling, "Come here, quick, see what I found." They scampered out back of the barn. There in a small pasture were a dozen of the prettiest little calves you ever saw. At first, they watched them go through the fence. Then they decided it would be fun to go in and play with the calves. The calves ran and kicked up their heels and held their tails up in the air like waving flags. How comical they looked. Dick decided he would be a cowboy and ride one of the calves. He picked up a pretty little fellow, and they all ran after it until they caught it. Then Margie helped Dick climb on the calf's back while the rest of them held it still. "Okay, let go," Dick shouted. The calf ran and jumped as hard as it could, but Dick had both arms around its neck and held on tightly. All the other calves started running, and the children were running and shouting. It was the wildest mix-up of running and shouting you ever did see.
Oh, wow.
Dick's little pony calf tried his best to shake him off. Suddenly it decided to make a run for the end of the pasture. Margie turned to watch, and something she saw made her stop dead still. Her eyes popped wide and her mouth hung open. Then she started running and screaming, "Dick, look out! Dick, look out! The gate is open! The gate is open!" The calf saw the open gate too and plunged right through it. Dick was so frightened he let loose and fell sprawling to the ground. The calf kicked up its heels and raced for the driveway, with all the children shrieking and running after it. Their screams brought Grandpa running from the back of the farm and Grandma hurrying out of the house. The terrified calf streaked out into the highway. There was a screeching of car brakes and the sound of a bump. On rushed the children like a wild mob into the highway. There they stopped short, their screams choked in their throats. They stared at something lying in the middle of the road. It was the little calf. It lay there so still, they wondered if it could be dead. Just then Grandpa came hurrying up. He was all out of breath. He saw the calf. He looked around at the children. Their eyes were staring at the ground, and they were choking back the tears. "An open gate?" Grandpa asked very quietly. His eyes seemed to be looking right through them. No one could say a word. They just nodded their heads miserably. Then the little calf tried to kick its legs a bit. The children's heart beat faster. The calf wasn't dead after all. Maybe it wasn't hurt too badly. Oh, they hoped not. They crowded around while Grandma and Grandpa knelt to see how badly the poor little thing was hurt. They saw blood running from its nose and mouth. Its soft brown eyes looked up at them. They seemed to say, "Can't you please help me? It hurts so bad." Grandpa gently felt all over the little body to see how badly it might be crippled. Then he slowly shook his head. No one spoke a word. "I'm sorry, sir." They jumped with surprise to hear a voice. A young man was standing near them. Because they were so worried about the little calf, no one had noticed the car parked at the side of the road. "I'm terribly sorry, sir, but the calf ran right out of the driveway in front of my car. I just couldn't stop in time. Do you think it will live?" Grandpa shook his head again. "Well, sir, if you think it was my fault, I'm willing to help pay." "No," Grandpa replied, "it wasn't your fault. You couldn't help it." Then he remembered something. "Margie, you and Cindy hurry to the pasture and shut the gate before any more calves get out. Hurry, and then go straight to the house." The kind young man offered to help Grandpa move the calf to the side of the highway. They carried it very carefully so that it would not hurt too much and laid it gently on the grass. Then the man drove away, and Grandpa told the children to go to the house. "And Grandma," he added, "would you please telephone Mr. Brown and ask him if he could come over to see me tonight?" The children noticed Grandma had a very worried look on her face as she walked to the house with them. Cindy and Margie came hurrying in after shutting the gate. Both girls' eyes were filled with tears. "It was all our fault. The little calf had to get hurt and die because we forgot the rule. It doesn't seem fair, does it?" "No, dearies, it isn't fair. Because people don't do right. Lots of things happen that are not fair."